Global technology giants, including Apple, Meta, and Microsoft, are racing to create the hardware that will propel the so-called immersive era when augmented and virtual realities start to mesh with daily life, radically transforming both. Immersive tech is going to touch every part of our economy. Director of Immersive Technology at the Innovation Center Digital Catapult. She predicts a big push for the technology to be used to make the design and manufacture of goods more efficient, and to enable a more environmentally sustainable means of cross-border collaboration.
Microsoft integrated technology into Bing search results. Sarah Bird, Microsoft's head of responsible AI, acknowledged that the bot could still hallucinate untrue information but said the technology had been made more reliable. In the days that followed, Bing claimed that running was invented in the 1700s and tried to convince. Google announced its own chatbot, Bard, which in its first demo made a factual error about the James Webb Space Telescope. Deploying a conversational search engine too quickly might pose a reputational risk for Alphabet.
Hannah sees a familiar pattern in these events: financial incentives to rapidly commercialize AI outweighing concerns about safety or ethics. There isn't much money in responsibility or safety, but there's plenty in overhyping the technology, says Hannah, who previously worked on Google's ethical AI team and is now head of research at nonprofit Distributed AI Research. OpenAI began commercializing the technology through an API for developers. The ChatGPT release process included no technical paper or research publication, and soon a subscription plan.
Microsoft and NVIDIA had released similar projects based on the AI that is now part of Google search results. Also in 2018, Google adopted AI ethics principles said to limit future projects. Since then, researchers have warned that large language models carry heightened ethical risks and can spew or even intensify toxic, hateful speech. These models are also predisposed to making things up. Some in the industry wonder whether the bot has shifted perceptions for when it's acceptable or ethical to deploy AI powerful enough to generate realistic text and images.
Suleiman's latest research at Hugging Face found that major tech companies have taken an increasingly closed approach to the generative models they released. That trend accelerated with Alphabet's AI teams at Google and more widely across companies working on AI. Companies that guard their breakthroughs as trade secrets can also make the forefront of AI less accessible for marginalized researchers with few resources. Researchers have traditionally shared details about training data sets, parameter weights, and code to promote reproducibility of results.
We have increasingly little knowledge about what database systems were trained on or how they were evaluated, especially for the most powerful systems being released as products, a Stanford University PhD student whose work focuses on large language models. He credits people in the field of AI ethics with raising public consciousness about why it's dangerous to move fast and break things when technology is deployed to billions of people. Without that work in recent years, things could be a lot worse.
The interdisciplinary group emphasized the need for industry leaders to set ethical standards and take steps like running bias evaluations before deployment and avoiding certain use cases. Hickok and Hanna of DAIR are both watching the European Union finalize its AI Act this year to see how it treats models that generate text and imagery. Hickok said she's especially interested in seeing how European lawmakers treat liability for harm involving models created by companies like Google, Microsoft, and OpenAI.
Google says that images can bring concepts to life, make recommendations more persuasive and enhance responses when you ask for visual information. In other words, it can add a little more oomph to the text produced by Bard, whether it's explaining scientific concepts or recommending restaurants. Some of the searches we've run that have come with pictures attached are for bar recommendations, an explanation of how optical illusions work, and a query about the first working aircraft. You are looking for information about theories or philosophies.
We have moved up to a whole new level of sophistication. These powerful tools are being integrated into all of the apps we use every day, and that includes web browsers. Microsoft has been aggressively adding AI capabilities in as many of its products as possible. ChatGPT are seemingly quite good at it. But for some artists, this creates problems. Namely, determining what legal rights they have when their work is scraped by these tools. The pictures don't tend to change, even when there are variations in the text, which will usually give you a higher resolution version.
It's the first time I've seen this destruction of wealth because of a large language model error on that scale. She is not optimistic this will convince the company to slow its rush to launch, however. My guess is that it's not really going to be a cautionary tale. Artificial intelligence has been working behind the scenes of our apps and gadgets for many years now, interpreting our voice commands, recommending music playlists, picking out the next word for us on our phone keyboard, but in recent months AI technology has come to the fore like never before.